So, I had wanted to do this yesterday, but I worked, so I didn't have time. But every 4th of July, I try and read the Declaration of Independence. I know this says Constitution, but it's a big book. There's a lot in here. Read the Declaration of Independence and just enjoy the document that we're celebrating. So I thought this year maybe other people would like to join me. But before I do, there's a couple of common misconceptions that are pet peeves of mine that I would like to talk about. The 4th of July is not America's birthday. Okay? The United States of America is the country that we're in. When I say America, that's what I mean, even though it's two continents. It's not our birthday. Okay? The Constitution is the document that started the country. If we're celebrating the country's birthday, it would be when the Constitution became effective, which was in March of 1789. It was ratified in 1788, and so, by all accounts, Declaration of Independence, 4th of July, not America's birthday. If we want to extend the birthday metaphor, we could say that that was the date that we were conceived and that our birthday was possible only because of this day, but not America's birthday. Additionally, it was not signed on the 4th of July. It was ratified and signed on July 2nd for the most part. Other people didn't sign it until August, but it was adopted on the 4th of July. So that's why we celebrate the 4th of July, because that's the date on there. That's the day it was adopted. So not America's birthday, adopted on that day. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because pretty quickly it devolves into the list of reasons, which is important that they're in there, but I'm not going to read all of them. I'll just skip over them to the end. But here is the Declaration of Independence. In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. First time that anyone said that. Right there. Pretty awesome. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect, I can read, to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to that separation. This is why we're doing this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. And then these are the list of reasons. He has refused to assent laws. He has elected a multitude, all of this. Originally, they also talked about slavery in here. He allowed for this unjust system of slavery, but the ratification had to be 100%. All 13 colonies, states, had to ratify it unanimously. The South wouldn't do that. And so they took out the slavery part and kicked the can of slavery, of dealing with that in the Civil War down the road about 50 or so years until the compromises of the mid-1800s, and then that pushed it a little bit farther, and then obviously the Civil War happened. And then it goes on, after all of these, In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince, whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant, is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. Is this still working? Good. Unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. We have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and, oh man, congenuity, I think, maybe? Boy, when I read this, I feel like my vocabulary is terrible. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and decree that these united colonies are, and have a right to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that, as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. The foregoing declaration was, by order of Congress, engrossed and signed by the following members: John Hancock, President of the Second Continental Congress, and then all of the delegates therein, including Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Richard Henry Lee, Stephen Hopkins, Thomas Paine, right? Or did I misread something? I may have misread Thomas Paine, sorry. No, I can't find him. I may have made that one up. But he was still important. Philip Livingston, another of the members of the Continental, the committee that was assigned to write this. Anyway, happy Independence Day, but that's not our birthday.